The morning sun cast long shadows across the hospital parking garage as Margaret Collins finished her shift. At 58, she had been a nurse for over 30 years, and her feet reminded her of every one of those years as she walked slowly toward her car. The familiar weight of exhaustion settled on her shoulders. But it was the good kind of tired that came from helping others. As she rounded the corner near the elevator, something colorful caught her eye on the concrete floor. A small keychain lay abandoned between two parked cars, a child's drawing laminated in plastic, featuring a rainbow house with stick figures and the words, "I love you, Daddy," written in purple crayon. Margaret bent down, her knees protesting slightly, and picked up the keychain. The metal was warm from the morning sun, and she could see car keys attached to it. Someone was probably frantically searching for these right now. She knew that feeling, a panic of lost keys, the worry about getting home especially. When you had someone waiting for you. She looked around the nearly empty garage, then at the keychain again. The drawing was clearly made by a young child, perhaps 6 or 7 years old. The love in those simple lines touched something deep in her heart. This wasn't just a set of keys, it was a treasure from a child to their father. Margaret made her way to the security desk near the main entrance. The guard, a kind man named Henry, whom she'd chatted with many times over the years, looked up with a smile. "Morning, Margaret. Another long night." "They all are, Henry," she said softly, placing the keychain on the counter. "Someone dropped this in the parking garage. It looks important." Henry examined the keychain and nodded. "I'll put it in Lost and Found. If no one claims it in a week, we'll *." "Actually," Margaret interrupted gently, "would you mind if I held onto it? I have a feeling whoever lost this might be back looking for it soon. I work here every day. I could keep an eye out." Henry shrugged and handed it back. "Sure thing. You've got a good heart, Margaret." As she walked home to her quiet apartment. Margaret couldn't stop thinking about the keychain. Her own daughter lived across the country now, busy with her own life and career. Margaret understood life moved fast when you were young, but sometimes, in the quiet moments between her shifts, she missed the days when simple drawings like this one had decorated her refrigerator. 3 days passed. Margaret had asked around the hospital, checked with the parking attendants, and even posted a note on the staff bulletin board. No one had come forward about the lost keys. She kept the keychain in her uniform pocket, checking it several times each shift, as if it might somehow lead her to its owner. On Thursday afternoon. As Margaret was leaving the hospital after her shift, she noticed a commotion near the parking garage entrance. A man in a dark t-shirt was speaking urgently to Henry, and beside him stood a little girl with curly brown hair wearing a purple sweater. The child looked upset, and the man appeared frustrated. Margaret's heart quickened. She approached them, slowly, her hand instinctively moving to her pocket where the keychain rested. "Excuse me," she said softly. "Are you by any chance looking for some lost keys?" The man turned toward her, and Margaret saw exhaustion in his eyes, the kind that came from juggling too many responsibilities. He was probably in his early 30s, with kind eyes and the slightly rumpled appearance of someone who had been searching for something important. "Yes," he said, hope creeping into his voice. "I lost my keys somewhere around here a few days ago. My daughter and I have been back every day looking for them." The little girl peered around her father's leg. "It has my picture on it," she said in a small voice. "The one I made for Daddy." Margaret's heart melted. She pulled the keychain from her pocket and held it out. "Would this be what you're looking for?" The little girl's face lit up like sunrise. "Daddy, that's it. That's my picture." The man's shoulders sagged with relief. "Oh my God, yes. Thank you so much." He took the keychain with hands that trembled slightly. "I'm David Mitchell, and this is my daughter, Emma. This has been such a difficult week." "I'm Margaret," she said simply. "I found it in the parking garage on Monday morning. I hoped someone would come back for it." Emma tugged on her father's shirt. "Daddy, tell the nice lady about the spare key." "Place?" David's cheeks reddened slightly. "My ex-wife usually keeps a spare key, but we're not really speaking much these days, and the locksmith couldn't come until next week." We've been staying at my brother's house, but Emma's been worried about her cat at home. Asterisk Mr. Whiskers. Doesn't like being alone, Emma added solemnly. Asterisk Margaret smiled. Well, now you can go home and check on Mr. Whiskers. Asterisk I don't know how to thank you, David said. Really? You could have just turned these in and forgotten about them. But you, ... you kept them safe. Asterisk there was something in his voice that made Margaret pause, a depth of gratitude that seemed to go beyond a simple act of returning lost property. Asterisk it was nothing, she said. I could tell they were important. The drawing is beautiful. Emma, asterisk. Emma beamed. I made it at school. It's our house, and that's me, and Daddy, and Mr. Whiskers. Daddy keeps it with him all the time. Asterisk all the time, David confirmed, looking at his daughter with such love that Margaret felt a familiar tightness in her chest, the same feeling she'd had watching her own daughter grow up. Asterisk, as they stood there in the afternoon sun, Margaret noticed the careful way David listened to Emma, the patient way he answered her questions, the gentle way he smoothed her hair when she fidgeted. She recognized the signs of a single parent, the careful attention, the slight wariness, the fierce protectiveness. Asterisk, you know, David said suddenly. I'd like to do something to thank you properly. Could I, ... could we take you to dinner? Emma. And I don't get out much, but there's a nice family restaurant nearby. Asterisk Margaret started to decline. She wasn't used to accepting thanks for a simple kindness, but something in Emma's hopeful expression stopped her. Asterisk, I'd like that, she said simply. Asterisk over dinner at a cozy restaurant with checkered tablecloths and warm lighting. Margaret learned that David was indeed a single father. Working hard to balance his career with raising Emma, he spoke about his daughter with such pride and love that it reminded Margaret of her own father, who had been her hero growing up. Asterisk Emma chatted about school and her friends, and Mr. Whiskers, and Margaret found herself laughing in a way she hadn't in months. The child's innocent joy was infectious, and David's quiet strength reminded her of the good men she'd known in her life, men who led with kindness rather than bluster. Asterisk, you know, David said, as they shared dessert, I run a small company here in town. We make educational software for children. It's not glamorous work, but it's meaningful. And meeting you today, ... it reminds me that there are still people who do good things just because they're good things to do. Asterisk Margaret smiled. That's how my parents raised me. They always said that. Kindness costs nothing but means everything. Asterisk I want to be like that, Emma said suddenly. I want to help people like you helped us. Asterisk you already are, sweetheart, Margaret said. You made that beautiful drawing for your daddy, and you helped take care of Mr. Whiskers. That's helping too. Asterisk as the evening wound down, David insisted on walking Margaret to her car. Emma held both their hands, swinging between them and humming a tune from school. Asterisk. Thank you, David said again, not just for the keys, but for reminding me that there are still good people in the world. Emma and we've been going through a rough patch lately, and today was the first time in weeks that we both felt genuinely happy. Asterisk Margaret looked at this young father and his precious daughter and felt something shift in her own heart. You know, I work at the hospital most days. If you ever need someone to talk to, or if Emma wants to tell someone about school or Mr. Whiskers, I'm usually in the cafeteria around 3 o'clock. Asterisk, can we visit you sometimes? Emma asked hopefully. Asterisk, I'd like that very much, Margaret said. Asterisk as she drove home that night, Margaret reflected on the day. She had started the morning with tired feet and a routine that sometimes felt empty. But a small act of kindness, something as simple as keeping a lost keychain safe, had somehow opened her heart to new connections. Asterisk the keychain had been a bridge between her world and theirs. A reminder that kindness creates ripples we rarely see. In helping David and Emma, she had also helped herself, discovering that there was still room in her life for new friendships and small joys. Asterisk sometimes. Margaret thought as she pulled into her driveway, the most important things we find are the ones we weren't looking for at all.